The slap landed with a sharp, echoing crack that froze the entire diner. Forks stopped midair. Conversations died instantly. A little girl in a pink sweater grabbed her father's hand tighter, her wide eyes trembling with fear. And the man who had been struck, a tired-looking single dad in a faded green jacket, did not raise a hand, did not take a step, did not even open his eyes. He simply breathed in, breathed out, and let the sting fade across a face that had endured far worse in another lifetime. What the bully didn't know, what no one in the diner except the little girl sensed, was that her father wasn't frozen out of fear. He was frozen out of restraint. Because the tattoo on his forearm, half hidden beneath the sleeve she clung to, was not just ink. It was a mark earned in shadows, in deserts, in nights filled with danger, the emblem of a Delta Force legend who had once walked through fire to bring others home. If you believe the world needs more kindness, compassion, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. The moment seemed almost unreal, as if time itself paused to decide what would happen next. The bully, a broad-chested man in a red leather jacket, smirked with the hollow confidence of someone who believed strength came from volume and not from the quiet depths of a wounded soul. He had barged into the diner moments earlier, angry at the world, angry at life, taking it out on anyone nearby. When he saw the single dad standing in line with his young daughter, he made a cruel remark about men who hide behind kids, something that triggered old memories the father wished he could forget. But he chose silence. He chose calm. And that silence, misread as weakness, provoked the slap. The little girl had seen her father withstand storms before, nights when he couldn't sleep, mornings when his hands trembled just a little, afternoons when bills and responsibilities stacked heavier than the memories he tried to bury. But she had never seen someone raise a hand against him. Her small fingers tightened around his tattooed wrist, tracing the familiar emblem that had always made her feel safe. She whispered his name, too soft for the others to hear, but loud enough to pull him back from the edge. The father finally opened his eyes, not in anger, but in the quiet clarity of a man who had fought battles that would break most people. He looked around the diner and saw fear in the faces of the waitresses, confusion in the eyes of the bully, and worry in the trembling child beside him. He saw a world that too easily turned cold and forgot compassion. And he saw, reflected in the shiny surface of the diner window, the man he had been before life stripped him down to the bones, a specialist who once carried secret burdens for his country, a soldier who had walked away from war to raise a daughter alone after her mother passed. He remembered promising her that he would never use violence again, not unless it was to protect her. Not unless it was the only choice left. And in this moment, even with a throbbing cheek and humiliation stinging deeper than the slap itself, he decided that being strong didn't always require striking back. Sometimes it required standing tall and refusing to let darkness pull you down. The bully blinked, thrown off by the man's stillness. He had expected anger, shouting, maybe even a fight he thought he wanted. Instead, he saw something unexpected, a depth in the father's eyes that suggested he had just picked a battle he was not prepared for. One of the waitresses hurried forward and scolded the bully, but her voice wavered with fear. The father put a gentle hand on her shoulder, silently reassuring her he was fine. His daughter wrapped both arms around him, burying her face in his shirt. As the father led her toward their booth, the bully suddenly noticed the tattoo the girl had been holding onto. A simple emblem, yet unmistakable to those who knew. His expression shifted. His shoulders stiffened. He took a half step back. He had seen that symbol before, in news documentaries, in military articles, mentioned in hushed voices by people who understood what Delta Force truly meant. And he realized, with a cold twist in his stomach, exactly who he had slapped. Shame replaced bravado. Fear replaced arrogance. And for the first time in years, the bully felt something he had long forgotten, accountability. The single dad sat down with his daughter, smoothing her hair, letting her know everything was okay. Inside, however, he was battling the familiar ache of a man trying to rebuild a life from the ashes of trauma, poverty, and loneliness. He had been struggling for months, working double shifts, skipping meals so she could eat, fighting the weight of grief that sometimes made breathing feel like a chore. Today was supposed to be a small treat, a simple diner meal they'd saved for all week. And yet even here, trouble had found them. But trouble had not won. When the bully finally approached their booth, it wasn't with anger. It was with trembling remorse. The father didn't rise. He didn't need to. He simply looked at the men with eyes that carried both exhaustion and unimaginable strength. The bully apologized, not loudly, not for attention, but quietly, sincerely. And the father, who had spent years learning what forgiveness meant, nodded. Because he knew that broken people sometimes hurt others. He knew that everyone carried battles inside. The diner slowly returned to life. Conversations resumed. Plates clinked. And for the first time that day, the father allowed himself a small, tired smile as his daughter leaned against him. He realized something powerful: strength wasn't in striking back. Strength was in breaking the cycle. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share the video. Your support helps these stories reach others who may need them. Before you go, please comment below: kindness is strength. And remember, sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest courage.